Good afternoon. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this update together. I greatly appreciate it. I don't want to sound syrupy at this point, but I have to tell you, these days there's so much that I appreciate. I've lived most of my life with what I hope would be a sense of gratitude, but the experience of these last 5 or 6 weeks has only deepened that sense of gratitude within me. And of course, there are many things, just like you, that I long for too. I long for the day when we can return to some of the simple pleasures of life that we so enjoy. Watching a baseball game, watching a baseball game, watching a baseball game. We'll get there. In the meantime, let's continue being grateful to the Lord for His care for us. I want to first of all invite you to our live stream event, a counselor conversation, Wednesday evening at 6. I'll be joined by Tracy Fields, one of our faithful church members who has served as a counselor in our school district for many years. Let me share just a few of the questions about which we're going to converse. What are some of the biggest challenges families are facing right now? How can people take care of themselves during these challenging times? What suggestions do you have for self-care for parents, for teens, and for children? How can parents speak to their children about this? What are some distress signs that we should be watching for in our kids as well as in others? Who can I talk to if someone isn't dealing well with this crisis? And then, of course, how do we move forward? So, I hope that you'll join us for this live stream or check it out afterward at our church website, www.kearneyfbc.com. I want to remind you also that if you're in need of something that we might help with as a church family, please feel free to let us know. You can email us at kfbc@kearneyfbc.com or utilize one of the staff emails as well. Be sure to check on your neighbors, and this, of course, also includes checking on your relatives as we continue through this time together. I want you to know how proud I am of you as a church family. I'm getting all kinds of great reports about our people helping people, so I want to say thank you for that. I also want to thank you for your continued generosity during this time. I know that it would be very easy to give in to fear and to hold back, but you guys have been great in giving. I'm reminded of the Apostle Paul's words at different times to Christians about their unselfish giving. So once again, thank you. Our staff has been busy calling all of our membership. As you can imagine, a membership roll that dates back to somewhere around 1856, even with as hard as we try, that offers a few glitches. So I trust that you'll understand once we get back to running on all 8 cylinders, if we send out some form of communication to everyone, making sure they want to maintain their membership with us. We're not looking to give anybody the boot. We just need to know who we can count on. That would be a helpful tool so we would know the families that willingly put themselves in the care of our church. Let me encourage you also to continue to maintain your daily Bible reading. It takes, as we've shared before, only about 72 hours to read the entire Bible. I can't tell you what a difference that makes in my life. When you get to the hard parts that you may not fully grasp, keep on trucking. Remember, if you're in 2 Chronicles, that Proverbs is just around the corner. Really, it does make a difference spending some time in the Word every single day. And how cool would it be if one of the great things that came out of this crisis in the world is that more believers than ever had the time to read the Word more than ever? I was thinking on Easter Sunday about the good that can come out of this time. I can't prove it, but I believe via regular broadcast mediums as well as because of social media during this time, I believe that the gospel of Jesus has been shared more than at any other time in our nation's history. What do you think? Think about this. What do you think God might do with that? I want to let you know that I've been praying for you, and we've been planning together and looking forward to the time when we will all be able to meet together again as a church family. So let me share just a little bit of insight, thinking at this particular point, and obviously this is all going to be subject to change based on how things play out in the next few weeks. As our nation moves toward reopening, so to speak, we know that churches will begin having the opportunity to do the same. We want you to know that we are, in fact, looking forward to that. But we also want you to be aware that we're going to be very responsible in doing this. As an example, one of the things that we're considering is having 4 or 5 worship services on a Sunday. Now remember, even as I talk about this, this is not in concrete just yet. We would send out information church-wide to let everyone know how this would work, and it would likely be for a couple of weeks only, so not the way things would be for the long term. Let me say it again. That's not the way things would be for the long term. We would ask people who are comfortable doing so to attend a particular service based on the first letter of their last name, and we would have several services. I know that it's not ideal, but it may help us ease back into meeting together. We would ask people not to shake hands and to still maintain social distancing as we have been. Let's say, for example, we would have worship at 8 o'clock, 9:30, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and 2:30 in the afternoon. We would have a worship service that lasted about 50 minutes, have the building cleaned and sprayed with some disinfectant on key surfaces, and give ample opportunity for everyone to exit without being crowded, while we also give ample space to welcome the next group of worshipers in. If we would do communion during this time, we would have the individual cups and crackers that you pop off the top and nobody has to pass anything. We would have our ushers stationed at the door, so those of you who wanted to give could just put your gift in the plate and nothing would be passed. I hope that makes sense. And of course, for those who are at higher risk or don't feel comfortable yet attending, we would still offer a live stream of one of our services. Well, I know that's a lot to digest, but remember, it would only be until things are able to safely return to how they were previously. We're also hopeful that we'll be able to have a graduate recognition during one of our services. The senior class has really given up a lot this year because of this crisis, and we'd like to help them celebrate the milestone in their lives. And once we're able to return, we're planning, are you ready? We're planning an Easter service. That's right. Think something like Easter in June. We're going to have the opportunity to worship as we would have in person together on Easter Sunday. It's going to be a big celebration of God's faithfulness to His people. More on that later on, but I do want you to know that we have some great things planned moving forward. You'll recall Matthew's Gospel records how just before Jesus ascended into heaven, He offered some meaningful words to His followers. He said, "I am with you always." Let that sink in. Jesus said, "I am with you always." Listen to me, that was true 2,000 years ago, and it is just as true at this very moment. Jesus is with us, and the best news of all, Jesus is enough.